I just want to thank everybody. By the way, I'm Katie, General Manager at ADAC, and I want to thank everyone for being here for Digital Day. Just a reminder that Digital Day is one of our 2 business series that we do each year. Spring Digital Day is focused on ways that you can grow your business through social media, technology, and digital platforms. So I hope you've enjoyed the day so far.
I think what's really key and important to remember when working on establishing a strong marketing strategy is the fact that consistency and quality are really the key. And so rather than feeling overwhelmed and like you need to do all of the things, I think it's really important to home in on what you enjoy doing, because it obviously takes time and energy and resources to have a social media or marketing presence, and really focus on creating strong quality content, both in terms of the type of content that you're posting and also the cadence, how often you're posting it, and really focusing on what is true to your brand. I think a sense of authenticity is super important, because so many people are out there doing these like fun, interesting things, but that may not be the right thing for you or for your brand.
Absolutely.
I think for us it's timing, and I think the bottom line is people don't know what digital marketing really is or public relations, and I think they tend to intertwine them. And so we'll get calls all the time and they're like, okay, so once I hire you, how fast can I get a client? I'm like, okay, well, we're not business development exactly. You need a business development person for that. And so I think timing, and so it's always our job to educate, not only ourselves, but our clients, and letting them know that this is a slow and steady process. It's a marathon. We're going to get there, but we have to train for the marathon. You don't just wake up and you start running 25 miles. And so I think timing is always one of the most challenging, but as long as we manage the expectations, set them from the beginning, it usually is smooth sailing from there.
Yeah, definitely. If there was a one-size-fits-all recipe for marketing success, everyone would be following it. But there isn't, and it just doesn't work that way. So the timing and consistency and staying true to your brand, all of those are really key factors. Okay, Paloma, I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind starting with this one. What's one marketing or business hack that you implement that you wish everybody knew?
Well, I don't know that I have a hack, because I have done it all organically and on my own since I started. I also have a retail store, and my retail team, we have a marketing person, because that would be too much. I've just recently hired a digital marketing and social media strategy person that I've hired, who will be helping me with social media as some of the other arms of my business continue to grow. It just becomes a little bit more overwhelming, and the challenge I face is coming up with new, interesting, exciting things to share, particularly because I have a new book coming out, so all of those images in that book are under embargo. I cannot share them until the book comes out. So it's a lot of well, what do I post now that I haven't already shared? Right. So there's a lot of sort of just creative, I guess, brainstorming that needs to happen. Oftentimes I'll wake up, the first thing I do is check my phone, check my social media when I wake up. The baby monitor first, I will say. Baby monitor, then the social media. Have my priorities straight. And some days I'll come up with something clever, and other days I'm finding I'm not doing it every single day like I once did. But what was your question? I'm sorry, I just went on a tangent.
If there's a hack.
Business hack. I think a business hack, honestly, is really engaging in the fact that social media is meant to be social. It's not a hack per se, but I think you have to lean into the fact that it's about creating a sense of community. And the most successful people, I believe, on Instagram are those that truly engage with their community and are giving them something back. You're not just sharing a pretty picture and expecting people to be like, that's so beautiful, you're so talented. You're sharing something with them that they can then take away and use in their own lives. They don't necessarily have to hire you or buy what you're selling, but they look to you as someone who is aspirational and educational in a sense. You really want to be enriching people's lives and also engaging with your community. When people comment, you should reply as much as you can. Yeah. You should be commenting on other people's posts. And those little things, super organic, timely, tedious, yes, but really important, because at the end of the day, it goes back to that authenticity factor, and that's what people connect with. They can tell if there's just a team member who's firing things off and there's really no personality, or sense of connection in your posts. So I think if you're trying to establish a community, it doesn't have to be the biggest community in the world, but as long as you're really engaging with your circle, you will see results.
Great. So good. Do either one of you guys want to jump in on that?
Yeah, I think a business hack is there's a lot of free tools out there. I think people sometimes get overwhelmed, especially in small businesses, where they're like, do I have to get an investor to hire a whole marketing team? And like that salary is what, like 140,000, what am I gonna do? And you don't. So basically, we always try to tell people that there are free tools out there. So for example, Instagram has insights and it can measure the tools and it can tell you Monday at 4 p.m. is when your audience is always logged in. So then you should keep it in your mind, like, okay, let's post Monday at 4 because that's when everyone's on. And same with like Google Analytics can give you analytics on the website. And it's always about tracking and measuring. And that's the name of the game with marketing. You're gonna try different things and what is it that sticks? Yeah. And to your point about authenticity, your audience will gravitate towards a certain thing because we have to think about it in terms of tribes. Like what is your tribe? And for example, when clients first come on to us, they're always like, oh, we want to reach the masses. And it's like, let's slow down. We need to hone in on like, what is your brand ethos? What do you stand for? Is there something philanthropic? Is there something human that we can tap into? Because people, at the end of the day, they don't connect to objects, they connect to people. Sure. And nowadays, especially, I think during the pandemic, people became a lot more savvy on the brands that they buy from. And they were quick to cancel, for lack of a better word. You know, oh, this brand said that they were green, but now I found out where they're sourcing their objects. And so remaining true to yourself and then allowing for these tools that are free, that aren't in hand, like take advantage of them. I can send a list of you guys if you want them afterwards.
Cool.
And then I would agree with Paloma, like it's all about community. Yes, be authentic, be yourself, but don't ignore the fact that people are following you. Like, yes, when they comment, reply. Follow other designers. For me, it's like community over competition. What are the other designers doing? Compliment their work. Go on different, like Lulu in Georgia, for example, they're a retailer. I've used some of their products before. Comment on their stuff. That's a good way to get their attention. And I feel like social media is so like, it's me, me, me. How do I get more followers? But who are you following? Who are you supporting? And so community over competition is definitely the way to go. And you'd be surprised how many followers and how many accolades and brand partnerships and things you would get just from doing that authentically.
Definitely. Those are great points. And going along with that, so with social media, one of the things that I hear a lot of people say is, I don't have time for all of this, right?
Who does?
So what we like to do, one of the things that we like to tell people to think about is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. During those 3 times of the day, spend about 5 minutes, just go comment, interact, engage with other pages, other people that are commenting on your things. It's not a heavy lift. You're just sitting there, you're probably in your phone anyways. Just be mindful of it, maybe 3 times a day around those times. That'll really help you with your engagement and with your community to see that you're not just posting and trying to grab followers without interacting with other people as well. And then another hack that I would say, if I could just add one more, is just to have a strategy. Too many times I think that people just throw up things and see what sticks, or they do something one day and they never do it again. There's no consistency. If you have a clear game plan and you have a strategic approach, I feel like you're a lot more successful than if you're just wandering aimlessly and you don't know exactly what you're going to do next. Cool, so one more general question and then we'll get into more specifics. How has digital marketing changed your business? Byron, do you want to start?
Yeah, I think, for example, our business specifically, PR was always in the background. It was this like mysterious tool where it's like they grow people's businesses, but who are they and what do they do? And I think for the first time in the history of public relations and marketing, we're able to add a face to that. People are able to recognize who are the individual account executives and what are their names and what do they actually live lives outside PR? Because sometimes you'll ask PR people and it seems like that is their life. And I think boundaries are very important. Mm-hmm. And so just we're able to connect to whether it's potential clients or our own audience. I mean, we're a part of the PR net. And that is an example of a network that we are always helping each other, you know. And I think that we've also communicated with your team where it's like, hey, Veranda Magazine is looking for this, but we don't have clients that are representative of that. Do you have any clients? Maybe this is a fit for you. And I always push that, you know, that network, or if our clients aren't a part of something like that, I'm always like, consider it. Design Leadership Network, Black Artisan Designers Guild, plug, that's our client. Black Interior Designers Network. And so digital marketing allows you to to have that network at your fingertips. And so maybe someone lives in New York and you're in Atlanta, now you can connect via Instagram or email, whatever that is. And you feel like I saw a lot of people going up to her this morning and they're like, oh my God, Amber, it's you. Like, I don't know who you are, but you feel like you connect to these people every single day. And then Paloma too, I'm always like, oh my God, how's your daughter? And I've never met her daughter. And so that's the beautiful thing, I think, about digital marketing.
For sure.
It makes the world feel a little bit smaller. You feel a sense of connection to people that you've never met, or you have a little window into their lives. I can honestly say I've probably built my entire career on digital marketing. I started as a blogger way back when, in the early aughts, 2007, with a blog called La Dolce Vita that I wrote for 14 years before I finally wound it down officially last year, but I probably hadn't posted anything in 3 years. But that was really my entree. It brought such amazing relationships and friendships and resources into my life. It allowed me to have a platform so that when I was ready to start my design business, I had followers, I had a community that I could go to with questions. I had built-in mentors, essentially. And it allowed me over the years, and as that has sort of taken on a different shape, now I'm pretty much only on Instagram consistently and occasionally on Pinterest. It has really allowed me to form a lot of interesting relationships that have brought new opportunities my way, whether it be book publishing or product collaborations or some really amazing projects that we're doing now. We're in our 10th year, and when I started out, I certainly wasn't taking on the kinds of projects that come my way now. So I can absolutely, with 100% degree of certainty, say that it has been the most tremendous tool. When we started our store in 2019, half of our business was coming from Instagram, and I had a brick and mortar shop. And so we launched a really robust e-commerce store, thank goodness, before the pandemic. And then because we had that in place, 2021, 22 were incredible years for us at the store. And again, we've built this community sort of separately from my design business on the store side, but it can be anything you want it to be. And I think that's what's so interesting about it. We all in this room, everybody has access to the same tools and the same opportunities in a sense, because it sort of levels the playing field. It's just in how you use it and how you engage with the industry and the community.
For sure.
I forgot the question.
How has digital marketing changed your business?
Oh, okay. So for those that don't know, this is my third career, technically, because my background is advertising and marketing. So advertising sales first career, then got my MBA, and then worked full-time in financial services and fintech doing product marketing, and built Blessed Little Bungalow since 2016, on the side. It started out as a hobby, a blog, inspired by my house in San Antonio at the time. And then it built over time to be a profitable business. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm tired of living these two lives. Let me do this design thing for real. So I've only been full-time for 2 years, but those 5 years before that, even from day one, it's always been about digital marketing. And I think because of my background in marketing, it came easy to me. Mm-hmm. But the first thing I said was okay, whether this is going to be a legit business or a blog, let's start off professional and official. Let's get that URL, the domain. Let's steal all the, well, not steal, but get all of the usernames, Blessed Little Bungalow on Pinterest, Blessed Little Bungalow on Instagram, Blessed Little, and just in case, and we'll figure it out later. Let's take some professional pictures. And so when I finally launched on April 4th, 2016, it was I kind of laid the foundation, and it was all digital, because I was well, if I do this as a business, I want to be an e-designer, which is just basically online. So So it's been a huge impact because that's been the foundation of my business. And I think the brand, the social media following, the clients, all of that came from building that foundation first.
Wow, that's amazing. I think for me, the thing that's the most incredible about marketing in general and digital marketing is how, talking about those 8 pillars at the beginning, how each one really plays into and helps amplify the next one. If you get an article in public, a digital article online on Domino, for example, and you post on your website, and then once it's on your website, you're noticing, oh, now my SEO has gone up because there are these inbound links going to my website. And now that my SEO has gone up, now that I'm doing Google word searches or AdWords, that helps me also with my SEO. And now I'm adding in blog posts that I'm doing with those keywords, which is also helping that. And we could tie that back to our social media so people know where to go between the two. They all work together. It's so cohesive and robust that I just love the way that you can do one without the other, but when you do them all cohesively, you see how they all help feed off of one another and amplify those messages that you're trying to get out. Okay, Byron, I'm gonna start my first question direct to you. Talk to us a little bit about affiliate marketing. We hear affiliate marketing everywhere. What does it mean? Who should be doing this and why?
Okay, affiliate marketing, I always like to talk as far as like examples go. So think of it as a real estate agent. So a real estate agent is a performance-based career, meaning they don't get paid a dime until they sell the house. And so similarly, affiliate marketing is you're hiring a middleman to speak on your brand's behalf, and every single time they are able to secure a sale, they get 10%, 15%, 5%, whatever that is. And it can really run across the gamut of any industry. It could be fashion, interior design. And so who benefits from it? I think that both parties benefit from it, honestly. So from the brand perspective, it's a cheaper way, more efficient way to reach this like targeted audiences. So maybe you can target it to like, oh, we don't have customers in San Francisco. Let's reach out to some designers or some local influencers in San Francisco so they become familiar with our brand, and then you entice that affiliate with sales commission. On the other side, becoming an affiliate, you are able to latch onto their network. So let's say you become an affiliate of Pottery Barn. You now can be, have the potential to be reposted on their stories. They have, I don't know, like 5.8 million followers. You're gonna be able to grow your audience with them. And your brand, your personal brand will also grow. So I think it benefits both parties, really. It really is how you look at it. And even more than the network too, it could be a little side income.
Definitely.
It only sounds like 5%, but let's say you're like really on it. And I'm sure you've seen it where people are like, if you use my access code, like Byron20, you get 5%. Like that's affiliate marketing. And that's like a smaller scale example. A larger scale example is some media platforms are now doing it. So for example, if you go on House Beautiful, they don't call it affiliate, they call it partnerships. And you'll see that the articles will say, partnered with Pottery Barn, partnered with LG. And they'll develop editorial content around that reads like a story, reads like a narrative. It's not so much like this washer does this. It's more like, oh, when I'm home with the kids, like this washer doesn't make any noise so my baby can sleep. And so it's engaging, but at the end of the day, they're going to get a percentage of every sale that goes back to their website. And then AD, I think they're a little bit more sponsored. Oh, sorry, that's one thing too. If you are looking to be a part of it, I would suggest that you do something that's very authentic and true to your brand. You don't want to partner with something that's not true to you because you will lose your audience. If they just, for example, if like I'm a little bit more like street style, I like Nike Air Forces. If I out of nowhere just started doing like Stubbs and Wooten, they'd be like, girl, like that's not you. Like what are you doing? Like, why are you promoting this? Like clearly it's for a check, and like do you even care about us? Like are we even talking the same language? And so it's very important that if you're approached to do it or you're looking to do it, always make sure that it's an extension of you because you're already enjoying the product anyway.
Right, for sure.
So, yeah.
Did you guys want to add anything to that?
It's another stream of income for me, affiliate marketing. So I have the Like to Know, Reward Style, Amazon associates and influencers. So anytime I'm posting on my blog, I link to, and I know this is controversial, but like I tag my Instagram, like if it came from Pottery Barn, to use them as an example, then I'm tagging Pottery Barn. But if I post it on my blog, I'm using an affiliate link. So anyone that clicks that link to find out where that sofa was and it's from Pottery Barn, I'm getting, say that sofa was $4,000 and I'm gonna get $170 because they bought the sofa, because they clicked the link. Like, that adds up. So it might seem small, but if you do it consistently, especially if you're a blogger, you post a lot on social media, and a lot of people engage with like, oh, where'd that shirt come from? Well, this came from Anthropologie, and I'll send you the link later. Like, like it adds up. So don't think of it as just another thing to do. Think of it as an opportunity to make money off of something you're doing anyway.
Right.
I would add, I think it also depends, having done affiliate marketing as an influencer and also as a brand for my store, I've seen how successful it can be for both. I currently don't do it personally, really, not in the traditional sense with like affiliate links. I still do some brand partnerships if they make sense. I would just say, back to your point earlier about FOMO, it's not something you need to do.
Sure.
It depends on where you are in your business. I think if you're trying to make a name for yourself, if you're trying to grow an audience, if you're younger in your career, it makes sense to do that. If you're an established designer, you've been around for 10 plus years, I mean, you don't see Suzanne Kassler and Michael Smith hawking affiliate links for their sweaters. Like, it just doesn't happen. So I think, again, like, be true to what your personal goals are for your brand and for your career. It can be a wonderful stream of revenue, and just, be true, again, like, to what your goals are and what you envision your brand moving forward. I'm of the mindset, and I say this to my team all the time, let's think about where we want to go in terms of what we're taking on, regardless of the avenue of our business that it might apply to. Where do we want to go versus, like, did this make sense where we were before? So,
For sure.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. All really good points. One thing that I want to add to that too is, if you see everywhere, if you are a brand or a product, you'll see all these gift guides all the time, and gift guides now are almost exclusively done through affiliate. So it just really helps amplify your audience and who you can reach and who you can get your products in front of. And yes, you are taking the percentage that you agree upon to give to whoever ends up posting your product. And there is a startup cost as well, but to get your brand in front of like the entire 80 network or whatever the case may be, that might not be a network that you could reach otherwise without doing traditional advertising, which is much more expensive than just the 5 to 10%.
Yeah.
and these people are putting in a lot of work. Like, sometimes I see influencers or bloggers get flack for using affiliate links, but they're spending so much time and energy, like,
Yeah.
curating these things, creating the content. So at the end of the day, like, you're enjoying their content for free more often than not. So it's a little something to show for that effort.
Definitely.
Right.
And you just have to be honest too. I think a lot of influencers can come off very salesy, like, buy this, and then after a while it's like, oh, let me hide your post. I don't really want to be sold to every day. But again, being authentic, like, I'm going to wear this shirt anyway. I'm going to shop at West Elm anyway. I'm going to show you me walking through the shoemaker showroom. I'm going to do this anyway. So why not give people, because the thing is, my comments are filled with, well, where'd you get that? Well, where's that from? And it's like, you can just send them to the link tree and all the links are there. It's helping me in the long run. It's saving time for me too.
For sure. For sure. Amazing. Okay, moving on, Paloma, I'm going to ask the next question for you. So you mentioned that you're a designer. You mentioned that you have your own curated home collection of products as well. Mm-hmm. Do you find it helpful to have a separate approach to digital marketing for each?
It all falls under the same brand umbrella, and I think that having that cohesive, consistent messaging across the board is very important. For all of my partnerships, they have been with companies that I genuinely and authentically use in my projects all the time. So for instance, I have a lighting collection with Visual Comfort. I just launched a stone collection with Aria Stone Gallery, and I have something very exciting that we'll launch next year with a big fabric house. So these are all like relationships that are existing. We absolutely do work with our PR and our social media marketing teams to come up with specific strategies. Also, the brands have their own in-house marketing teams and PR teams, and so we work collaboratively as a team to come up with a strategy for each of those product launches, to come up with storytelling that makes sense at the beginning when we're originally launching the product, and then to have some evergreen things where we can consistently sort of drop those breadcrumbs and remind people that that product exists and that it's out there. So, I mean, ultimately, in terms of what we're using, like the mediums, I would say there's a lot of PR involved, more so than there would be with like design or even my store. There's a lot of PR that comes with a product collection because you want to get that out there. You want people to know that this is happening. So we lean heavily on our PR team for that and get placement in various print magazines or online outlets. And then from there, you know, it's about coming up with a robust and, a robust and, I guess, manageable marketing process that we can then disseminate over time.
Nice, for sure. I think that it's important, like you said, that everything falls under the same marketing umbrella. So the message, the brand, it's all consistent. You don't have to know that it's you and your page that you're looking at to know that it's your page and your product that you're looking at.
Exactly.
Definitely. Wonderful. Did either one of you guys want to add on to that? No? Okay. Amber, how do partnerships help grow your business?
I mean, it takes you from, with anything with social media, I think you have a microphone and it can turn into a megaphone with just working with the right partners. So for example, the Atlanta Homes and Lifestyles Home for the Holidays, I participated in their show house last year. It was my first show house experience. Didn't know what I was doing, but was super excited to be there, and I was doing it for the experience, and it was an amazing experience, and I was lucky enough to have some partners in executing the spaces that I designed. So the Shade Store, for example, I had these Martin Lawrence Bullard Roman shades that were custom done for the scullery and pantry, and I hadn't really interacted too much with the Shade Store before, besides just being like a buyer, like on their PR and marketing side. And so by partnering with them, they gifted me the shades for free, but then also like I made content, well, I say for free, it was a partnership because I posted content. See, that's the thing. It's like, it don't even feel like I'm doing something.
Yeah, it's never free. Work comes with it.
It's not free, but
It's easier to pay for it sometimes.
For sure, but for me, it's like I was going to post it anyway.
Yeah.
Like I was going to post, okay, here's me going in the showroom in ADAC, and here's me picking out like different swatches and figuring out what I was going to use. And now here's the installation guys are here, and I did a reel like covering that. And so, yes, that was in exchange for the free shades, but of course the Shade Store loved the content. It was something that was super organic and people loved it. It got a lot of likes, people wanted to know more. And so then maybe a month later, I'm like in their email, like a picture of my work, and it's talking about my process, and then they're reposting my stuff. So it's like by partnering with them, it's like, yes, they got something out of it from my 104,000 followers on Instagram, but they have much more followers than me, I believe. So it's like I'm being exposed, my brand and my talent is being exposed to a larger audience because of all of the people that follow the Shade Store and work with the Shade Store. So partnerships are a great opportunity for, yes, you can make money on partnerships. Yes, you can do trade deals and get, product in exchange for your marketing efforts, but I feel like it's very mutually beneficial. I mean, hence the word partnership. It's a great way to grow your brand and also partner with new brands that you may not have been aware of before.
Definitely, definitely. One of the things that I don't ever like to overlook is even smaller brands that might not have a huge following or a huge audience. If that is your right audience, if that is your avatar of who you're trying to reach, it doesn't matter if there are 5,000 or 500,000 followers. That's your bread and butter. That's who you want to reach out to and talk to. And sometimes those new brands that don't have a huge following are a lot more, it's a lot easier to get and build partnerships with them and start building a relationship that you can grow as they grow too. Perfect. Okay, Byron, I'm going to go back to you and talk a little bit more about affiliate marketing. In your opinion, is affiliate marketing beneficial or more beneficial for designers than it is for products, or when is it more beneficial for designers than it is for products?
I think it's more beneficial for designers when they just start their business. Maybe they're smaller. Maybe in like the first, I would say, less than 5 years. Maybe they don't have as many clients, or they're just trying to figure out. I mean, even like maybe they don't even have like a tax accountant. It's like people that are like in the very beginning stages that are looking to grow their business, get their word out in a different way. Within a certain region, I would say that's when it's most beneficial to those interior designers. And of course, if you're kind of in that position where you're like still looking for clients or you would like to reach more, having a side income is always nice as well. For brands, I think it's always beneficial to them no matter what. Because at the end of the day, and we all know this, like whether it's like dating or referring someone to a new job, referrals always like the number one best like client referrals. Like there's nothing that can beat that, right? Or like if you're like setting your friend up on a date, it's like if someone's like, yeah, I highly recommend this person, you're gonna go on a date with them. And so similarly with this, it's like if a brand is saying like, hey, this is a young interior designer, but we believe in them and they have so much talent and they've only designed one bedroom, but the photography is just mind-blowing. Like that's gonna grow your business because they're referring you to their audience and they believe in you. And so, and it works both ways, right? And same like if you're a more established interior designer, but the brand might be a little bit smaller, you're latching on, like for example, Paloma or Amber, if you guys, like if a newer brand comes out and you guys really love it, you're gonna help them and you're going to also like speak on their behalf, advocate on their behalf, which we're now falling into like the brand ambassador realm, which I love brand ambassadorships. Like I always push all my clients onto it. It's slightly different. There's no direct sales that come from it, but you establish the relationship, and we always ask our clients, you know, like what is the long-term goal? Is it a capsule collection down the road? Well, in order for that to happen, they need to know who you are. Are you easy to work with? That's another big thing. You might be talented, but if you're difficult and annoying to work with, nobody wants to work with you. And so it's little things like that where it's like it starts off free, but I always say, you know, a penny earned or a penny saved is a penny earned. And so it can start off with, hey, they're going to give you 70% off or 80% off, or maybe even free for a show house or something. And that's how relationships build, and people always, that's the community building that we've been talking about consistently. And it starts there, and I mean, and I said this earlier, a little corny moment, but ADAC was like one of the first design centers that I reached out to and I visited when I started my business. So I'll always, Melissa, hi Melissa and Katie. So I'll always remember you guys no matter what. And so, yeah, building that community.
I love it. I love it. Fun. Paloma, I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk to you a little bit about structuring a licensing partnership with a brand. If you're a newbie designer, what should you know about that? The length of the agreement, royalties, all of those details. Why is it beneficial to structure a licensing partnership?
Well, I think licensing partnerships are highly sought after these days in the market. If you've been around long enough, I feel like you've seen, if you go to High Point, you've seen how saturated this market has become and how many designers have collections now, and everybody aspires to it. And it's a great thing, obviously, because if you are creatively inclined and you have a passion for a specific type of product, for instance, lighting is my thing. Like some people love chairs or textiles. I'm a lighting person. And so having a lighting collection was very exciting for me. But to echo what everybody else has been saying for the last few minutes, it really hinges on relationships. And so a relationship might be born out of a sponsorship for a show house or, a brand ambassadorship, developing that relationship with people, investing back into the industry by going to markets, by going to industry events, by promoting brands and colleagues and all of those things. I think that makes a difference in terms of who brands are looking to work with. And to echo Byron, it 100% helps to be easy and professional to work with. People don't want to work with difficult people because there's a ton of talent in our industry. And, if you're going to choose between working with somebody with a big ego that's very talented and somebody who's really nice and professional and answers things on time and meets deadlines, guess who they're going to choose to work with? Because you're both talented. But in terms of structuring, it really depends on the brand. I've had a few partnerships now. I did a capsule collection with Williams-Sonoma Home a few years ago. I have my partnership with Visual Comfort, just started this Aria Stone thing, and then have a licensing agreement with a fabric house coming up. And they're all somewhat similar in terms of what they look for. The brand pays you a percentage in exchange for your designs and the ability to use your name with the collection. And then they take on the big investment in creating the product. And so there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that because they're investing, in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars in developing your designs. And so they're going to look to you to really be the face of the product, to market it, to get it out there in the world consistently, and to be a good brand ambassador. In terms of, the nuts and bolts of a licensing agreement, if that's what you're looking for, it really depends on the brand, on the company. Some brands are very collaborative in the design process. Others ask you to essentially come up with a realistic, 3D rendering and then engineered drawings, mechanical drawings to provide to their factories afterwards. So there's an investment also on behalf of the designer. So yes, it may sound really exciting to be able to have this additional revenue, or stream of revenue, but you have to invest in having the tools in your firm. So I have to have somebody who can actually execute these mechanical drawings because I can't. I can sketch it, I can tell you what it looks like in my mind's eye, but I can't put it in Revit. So, there's that. And then in terms of percentages, on average, I would say an average licensed commission would run between 4 and 10%, 10 being on the very high end. Mm-hmm. Typically, industry standard for most categories, you're going to be somewhere between 5 and 6.
Okay.
So,
great.
Yeah, if that's helpful.
Yeah, that's super helpful.
Good to know.
Amazing. Amber, I'm going to switch now to social media a little bit. So from a social media influencer perspective, what are some green and red flags to be aware of before partnering with a brand or a company?
I think Byron mentioned this earlier. It's just do you use the product? Do you like the product? For me, you can go to my page and you'll see consistently some brands that are consistently tagged, some brands and products I consistently use in my client projects. Those are the ones that are going to feel more natural. Oh, Amber loves home goods. Of course she's going to partner with Home Goods for this. But I am not a beige girl. I like color. And so if there's a brand that's super muted and neutral and I'm partnering with them, it's not going to look authentic. It's going to look like, oh, they just gave her a check and here she is trying to sell me something. So I think green flags, whatever feels natural and the brands and partners that you're attracted to, the things that you'll use anyway, those are great partnerships. I think as a creative, on the content creation front, someone who likes your content already, that they're not trying to make you do this scripted reel and give it to them 4 times for edits. no dollar amount is going to make me do that. I don't want to do that. I'm not an actress. I'm going to create content that feels natural to me, and I would hope that you like my content enough that you won't want to pick it apart. And so red flags would be those that don't want me to be my authentic self in the content I'm creating in partnership with them. And I used to work in sales. I hate sales. I never want to create content that feels salesy.
Right.
And so I know it sounds weird to be a designer or be on this panel and say you hate sales, but the feeling of like someone's selling you something, I never want my audience to feel that way. And so if I'm all of a sudden creating content based on paid partnerships that's making my clients feel that way, that's cringy and like they're just swiping past and not engaging. Because at the end of the day, you got to get the likes, you got to get the engagement, how many people saved this post, how many people went to that link. So you want to create content that is going to draw that positive interaction. And so if it doesn't feel right, if it's not in your gut like a good partnership and they're not allowing the creative to create, then pass.
Yeah, definitely.
I wanted
Swipe
to say
right.
something that like I feel like maybe some of the stuff that we're saying might seem very top level and like out of reach and like, oh my God, what are they saying? I think it's important to realize that you can start from the ground up. I always tell our designers, become really good friends with your showroom reps. That is really like the entryway into all of this. They're going to be the first ones that, for example, if something happens, you're going to go to them first, and they already know you, they work with you, they know your projects, they know your aesthetic, and they're going to be the first ones to really, go above and beyond. And if a request comes from PR, unless if we're like really good friends with them, it's like always better to come internally. And so like that just always happens, and so that's a very good place to start is with your local network. And then, I know that sometimes like showroom reps will take you out to lunch, but maybe take them out to lunch. Or go to, if they're hosting a little lunch or a dinner or something, I know like where everyone's super busy, but just try to like, set aside a little time, go, become acquainted with the showroom manager, the showroom reps, and that's really how you start building that marketing network. And it really there's only benefits that come from that, and I can't stress it enough.
Definitely, definitely. And I was going to add on to that when we were talking about social media. So I think it's so important for you got everybody to think about why do they want to grow their followers. Is it more important to have a huge number of followers or to have the right followers? If no one is going to engage with your posts or your content, if these are not potential buyers or clients, do you care if they're following you? It's like having a ghost follower. They're there and it's a number, and really that almost goes against your analytics when you see somebody that has like 100,000 followers and they have like 100 likes to their post. Like obviously something's not adding up. Then it starts to look spammy or gimmicky. So I always say when people are like, I really want to grow my followers, why? Why do you want to grow your followers? Are you just worried about any number and adding those numbers up, or finding the right qualified followers that could actually help move the needle with your business? So something to keep in mind, because I feel like everybody gets super obsessed with like, how many followers, how many likes, but like, does it matter if it's not the right followers, the right likes?
Yeah. And on that note, like, I'll celebrate 7 years in April, and the first 5 years, I want to say, it took me 5 years to hit like 20,000 followers on Instagram. I have like 104 now. I think Reels and just a lot of partnerships and things like boosted that. But start where you are. Like my first followers were high school friends, college friends, family, and I had like 700 followers for a long time. And then now it's like you gain 1,000 followers, but you lost 1,200 followers, and you're like, wait a minute, what is this? And you got to worry about bots and all this stuff. Like between the algorithm, like you'll drive yourself crazy. Yeah. Just be you, and the right people will follow you, and then you'll see those huge boosts from whatever you post, and then you'll go to an event and meet someone, and they'll post a picture with you, and then you'll get followers from that. Like just allow it to grow on its own, and don't get so caught up in what that number is.
Definitely. Amazing. Okay, so last question that I have for you, Byron, is, again, we're going back to affiliate here.
You love it.
What is the current standard in the industry? And how easy is it for someone to get started? In terms of like percentages, like the standard?
I would say between 5 and like 18%. And always be your best advocate. Like if you don't have a representative, say what you want. Like we always, like never just take the first offer. Always, don't fight, but like be like, oh, well, I don't really think this is gonna be a fit for me because blah, blah, blah. And always feel like you two have a say in your own brand. For example, if somebody offers you a brand ambassadorship, make sure that you're saying, well, how are we going to promote this together afterwards? Because oftentimes we will, this is just with like our clients with press, something will come out in print and then we'll promote it, but then they don't. And we're like, wait, like this is your win. Like you need to promote it and tag the editors, et cetera. And so making sure that you ask, like, how are we going to promote this is a very important question to keep in the back of your mind, and always ask that. Like, because at the end of the day, something is not going to be successful if it's not repeated and consistent. I forget what the what do you call it? A person needs to see a message an average of at least 7 times before they remember something. And so just keeping that in mind, something needs to be seen, heard, read, felt, whatever, 7 times. And so it's not annoying. And as you were saying, like before with the content calendars, maybe it's like once a week or once every other Monday, you're like, hey guys, remember I was in Modern Luxury or something. But yeah.
Definitely. Anybody want to add on to that? Well, I was going to add on and say, with the industry standard too, it's always good, like if you are really interested in affiliate, to look and see who are your competitors. If you were on a shelf, who would sit next to you, right? Look and see what your competitors are doing. See if you could find out what they're charging for affiliate, because you don't want to price yourself out, but you also don't want to shortcut yourself either. Okay, Paloma, last question that I have specifically for you is, what are some of the tactics and strategies that you use to secure partnerships?
I think it boils down to, as we've said all along, relationships and community and authenticity. I'm engaging with brands that I spend money with. I think, at the end of the day, that makes a big difference when I go to a brand and say, hey, I'm doing a show house. Would you donate some fabric or whatever? Like if I'm genuinely using their product and placing it in client projects, they're gonna be more apt to take my call and grant my request. But overall, it boils down to relationships, engaging in your community, whether that means that you're coming to events like this and meeting fellow designers, engaging with your showrooms, engaging with the marketing people from different brands or the design center, traveling to other trade events. All of that goes a really long way, because not only are you getting away from your desk and like allowing your eye to travel and see new things. And that's so important for us as creatives whenever you have that opportunity just to like shake it up and get out of your routine and go see what's out there, what's out in the world to bring back to your projects. But it also allows you the opportunity to make connections, and any real relationship, opportunity, partnership I've ever had has come genuinely out of a personal connection that I had previously established. I'm not cold calling on brands and they're not coming to me out of the blue either. And I think if you were to, take a look at a cross section of successful designers who have had a variety of partnerships, you would probably find the same, that they're genuinely and authentically using the product and they know the people, even like with editorial, like anything in this business. You mentioned referrals earlier from clients. That trickles down to, everything, down to like your drapery workroom, anything in this industry. It's all about relationships, especially these last couple of years when it's been so hard to get anything done or installed. To be able to call and be like, please, 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 I have this client. They're just like, they're driving me, well, I shouldn't say they're driving me nuts, but they're very, very anxious to get their dining room chairs. Is there anything you can do? That's market power, and that market power comes as a direct result of creating relationships and spending money with the brands, and that will allow you to leverage a lot of things throughout the course of your career.
Amazing. This isn't a question that I've asked before, but just taking a step back from that, for anybody on the panel here, if you don't have those relationships, if you're a new designer and you are using these brands, but you don't know someone at this company, how do you go about reaching out to them as an introductory new designer that would like to work with their brand?
Well, I mean, I think it just goes back to what I was just talking about. You make yourself present. Like FaceTime, like true face-to-face time is the most important thing that you can invest in for your business. If that means buying yourself a plane ticket and going to High Point or going to an event in New York and meeting the people, that will go so far. It truly will. That doesn't guarantee anything, but it means more than like sending an email, because brands, magazines, like anyone you would ever want to get in contact with gets a million emails a day. And if they don't have a personal connection to you, you're not going to get very far. So, if I had any piece of advice, and I can say, like, I've been in everybody's shoes. I mean, I'm sure the audience's, careers span the whole gamut, but I started as a blogger. I was a former high school teacher. I started my blog as a creative outlet and built my business off of that. And that was because over the course of a lot of years, I made those investments and I had the opportunities to be with brands and be with my fellow bloggers or influencers and then designers and all of these things and create those relationships in real time. And that, I think, is invaluable, and it's the key, and it's what will give you an advantage over the next person who doesn't do that. And, I know that there's obviously a lot of overhead involved in a business, and at the beginning of the year, maybe at the end of this year, think about, strategize what you might want to do in 2024 and where you might want to go, what events you might want to attend, and give that to yourself as a gift and as an investment in yourself, because it will take you far.
Amazing. Last question, and then we can open it up for Q&A. Amber, I know that we've talked about this a little bit already, but how do you use social media to leverage and showcase both the brands you work with and your projects and your designs?
So I feel like, again, going back to you can't be everywhere at every moment. Like, pick a lane. Like, my lane is Instagram. Like, I go to Instagram, I do stories, I post there most consistently. Yes, I have a presence on TikTok and Pinterest and Facebook, but Instagram is like, that's my love language. And so I am all about hashtags, Mood Board Monday, Wallpaper Wednesday, Transformation Tuesday. Like, I post and talk about, like, Transformation Tuesday, here's a before picture of the space and here's an after. Like, I'm taking my following along with the process. Like, I think interior design, a lot of times it's just a bunch of pretty pictures. Well, what's the problem we're trying to solve in this living room? Why did we decide to do this? HGTV makes it look like this happens in a weekend. Actually, no, this took 7 months, and let me tell you what that looked like.
Yeah.
Like, I think people value that. They want to be educated. They want to be inspired. So I use social media to do that. So on my Instagram, you'll see everything from project reveals to me going out and about on consultations or showrooms or High Point next month. I am showing my potential clients, current clients, and audience, like, everything that encompasses me being an interior designer and a content creator. But then also specifically to my projects, I feel like that, yes, people will go to your website, they will want to look at your portfolio, and that's great. I feel like that's the second step. Like, you want them to, when they're scrolling, you want them to stop and be like, wow, that's beautiful. You want them to comment, like it. And then, yes, if they're interested in becoming a client or seeing more, then they'll go to your website from there. But it's a great, like, gateway, I guess, doorway into your brand is using social media to show off your project work.
I love it. Did anybody want to add to that, or anything else that you guys want to add before we open up for Q&A?
No, I think Amber hit the nail on the head about how important Instagram is now. I have a running list, a packing list, because I travel a decent amount. And I go through my checklist as I'm packing, and business cards have been on there for a long time. And for the last, 5 trips, I've forgotten to pack more business cards. But guess what? I don't need them. Nobody uses business cards anymore. It's all about Instagram. And that is a great way to showcase your best work, the work that you want to put out there and attract that type of client, ideally. And it's also a way for potential clients and customers to get to know your personality, who you are as a person, as a designer, to understand sort of like your vibe and see if it would feel like a fit before they then go onto your website. But from a marketing perspective, I think the best thing you can do is invest in really great social media and a really beautiful website.
Definitely.
I would say, to add on something separate, but philanthropy, if there ever is something that you really care about, always be a part of it, and then you can always find a way to tie design into it. Because the importance about philanthropy is that it adds a human element to your brands, and as I said earlier, people don't connect to furniture, they connect to people. And so if you're able to showcase someone like, oh, we're helping in October with breast cancer awareness, and I designed this vignette for this cause, it really opens up this whole new, like, I don't know, it's like you're letting people into your world, into your life as a human, as a person, and people love seeing that. And then I think that will also carry your brand to the next level. And I mean, everyone, I don't know anyone who would be like, oh no, we're not gonna give you any products because it's for, it's for like a special cause. I think that too will lend itself. But obviously, make sure that's something you really care about, and that it's already a part of who you are as a human anyway, as a person. But I always try to push our clients, and they always say, we don't have enough time. Blah, blah, blah. You can make the time to find something to tie design and philanthropy.
Definitely, definitely. Amazing. Well, let me see, how are we doing on time? Do we have time for? Okay,
And
perfect.
here, just a reminder I know there are some new people in the room. I have a microphone. Please let me get to you. We are recording today's panel, and the sound quality is much better.
Hi there, Amber. I'm Tamika. I'm from Houston, Texas. I'm new in the industry. I just wanted to give you your flowers while I'm here. Just thank you for your inspiration and things like that. As far as today goes, thank you all for this event, period. Just wanted to say that before I left today. Thank you.
Thank you. And I love the cardigan, the colors, everything.
Digital day.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Carlos Reed. I'm with the Carlos Reed Gallery. Can you just go briefly into the technical aspect of using promotional codes and promo codes to promote relationships with influencers and other brands? Technically, how does it work? Are you giving clients or people who might possibly buy your product a promo code, and based on that promo code, if it's 20% off, are you then giving that brand a percentage of that? Can you just elaborate a bit on how technically it works?
Yeah, so you would, let's say every designer here, you would approach everyone and you're like, hey, would you like to be a part of our affiliate program? We will send you specifically a link. And so everyone is gonna get an individual link that's only linked to them, so that you're able to process where that sale came from. And so they will then, any single time they talk about your gallery or whatever it is, they will say and swipe up or hit the link if you are interested in this piece. But you don't have, no payment has to be made until a sale is purchased to the final sale, so to speak. And again, that percentage is negotiated between you and the individual, whatever how much that is, and payment terms, et cetera. But yeah, that's essentially, everyone has to get their own individual link.
We've got a question back here.
Hi there. Quick question for you about when you were talking about the number of followers. And first, I love that you're saying authenticity, because it is about engagement, in my opinion. But I also get a lot of people saying, well, we can't get a book deal until you've got at least 75,000 followers. We can't get this until you've reached this level. Are you seeing any shifts? Because I think the vanity numbers people were buying followers to achieve those goals, but I think I'm hopeful brands are becoming more intelligent in realizing that those follower numbers are perhaps not as important. I don't know if that's my optimism or in the way I hope that they'll see it, or if you all are seeing any shifts in opportunities for more of the micro-influencer or people with fewer followers. Do y'all see any differences?
Absolutely. I think that we've seen a lot of brands really shift to nano and micro influencers just because it is such a good visual and picture of their avatar, of who their client is, who they're looking for, exactly who they are trying to reach. And because of that, that is more valuable to them than somebody who might not have such a cohesive or intact alignment with their brand, but they have a lot more followers. Again, I always think that it is way better to go with what resonates most with you and what's true to you, and whether you have 2,000 followers or 20,000 followers, the right people are going to find you because of that and align with you because of that.
I agree. I was like a micro nano influencer for a long time, and I still consider myself that. I think I just see so many people on TV that don't have a lot of followers. In TV and in magazines and stuff, so I don't think it's all about the following. I think a lot of these publications and companies, this person connects with me, and so I think it's so easy to think, oh well, I don't have enough followers, or like comparison's a thief of joy. You're always thinking like, I have to do what someone else says, or I need to get on that level. But I think the right opportunity will find you, and at least that's what I've been telling myself. And so I think that myth can be stumped for a lot of things, yeah.
And unfortunately, I think we have to close today. I'm so sorry. Got a quick question?
Hi. Great to see you all. Thank you for taking your time to come and provide your expertise. I did have 2 questions, but I'm gonna ask the most important one. What do you find to be, I guess, your most successful strategy for engaging with your followers, or really, I guess, your supporters, if that makes any sense? What's the most strategic avenue or strategy that you use to connect with them?
30 seconds each.
Okay. Be yourself. I just feel like I've gotten this far from just being myself and making my own lane and doing what I love, and I'm never going to be that beige girl. I'm never going to be that super high-end interior designer, and I'm cool with that, and the people that follow me are too.
Yeah, I think that when you are talking to your followers or your supporters, really talk to them. Like, you don't have to be polished. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's not reality. Nothing is ever perfect. So show people the ugly side, the underbelly of the things that you're dealing with. Make it real for them so they realize when they go and they try it that, like, they're not doing something wrong, you know? People like to see that. They like that genuineness where you can show yourself not at your best moment, but at a real moment. I think that that's always something that resonates.
I would say you can cheat and ask them directly, do you guys like that I'm posting this? Like, is this even interesting to you? People tell me that I'm not a skinfluencer, but lately brands have been sending me things and I just like do it. And I'm talking about PR, and I'm just like, and they're like, we love when you do these. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm a skinfluencer now. But yeah, ask them, do they like what you're doing?
Yeah, authenticity, obviously. But then also you can look at your analytics and analyze over the course of the last month or the last 2 weeks, which posts have performed the best, which stories have performed the best, and which have performed the least. I just did this exercise with the agency that I hired to help me with social media. It was very interesting. Speaking of my little girl, she does very, very well in stories because that's where you engage with people who already follow you. Not so well in the feed, poor little Margot. That's where people want to see, finished rooms, and they like vignettes, smaller details don't track as well in the feed, at least for me.
That's true.
So it's very eye-opening and interesting to see that, but if you have access to the dashboard and the analytics for your Instagram account, you can sort of dive into that and back into, what's really resonating with your audience and doing more of that.
That's awesome. Okay, with that, we are going to wrap things up. Nicole, do you have anything you want to wrap it up with?
Nope, I think, thank you guys all for your questions and for coming today.
Yep, awesome. And I'm sure Nicole and our panelists will stick around if you have any questions, but I do need to turn the room over because we're supposed to start our next presentation in 2 minutes. So run to the restroom and then come back.
Thank you.
course.
Thank you.